All right, this episode on Nerd Talk, Mighty Number Nine and the rise and fall of concept. Also, Bloodstained has been developed by the actual guy that made frickin'
Cas-
Castlevania, which is
yeah,
awesome.
the original developer, the creator, the granddaddy, the one who created the whole concept of Metroidvania, that guy. He created He created Bloodstained from the ground up.
Well, I wouldn't say that Metroidvania was entirely coined by him. I mean, to be fair, that started with Metroid 3, Super Metroid.
Yes, but you know what I mean. Like it's
Yeah,
like Castlevania plays like
because
now.
Symphony of the Night literally
Yeah.
took all the cues from Super Metroid right after that. But
Yeah.
that's a story for another episode.
Yeah. Well, then again,
the point
of
point
Nerd
was,
Talks is just to talk.
God, there's
Anyways.
some shit in this game, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, let's
Mighty
go
Number
back
Nine
to the
Castlevania.
topic at hand. So, let's start off with the premise. What is Mighty Number Nine?
Mighty
Well-
Number Nine was basically a Mega Man ripoff and a big FU to the creator, to the Mega Man in general.
Yeah.
It had concept art that made it look really good, that looked like it was going to really go somewhere. Except actual gameplay says, no, this is not how this game actually looked. You blew your money on us.
Pretty much, yeah. It's probably the most famous Kickstarter fiasco, disaster.
Oh, there are worse ones for
Problem?
actual products that aren't games, but
Well, I mean, in
Right.
recent history, that was pretty damn popular. Like, I wouldn't say it's like the worst Kickstarter disaster, but I'd say it's one of the most well known.
Meanwhile, on the flip side, the guy who created the granddaddy of Castlevania, his product was a Kickstarter product, and that product
was
was
worth
Bloodstained.
Yeah, that was worth backing. Mighty Number Nine, however, I feel really bad for Ego Raptor because he bought into the $3,000 tier, and all he got out of that was a billboard in the background for like half a second in the first level.
That's
With his
pretty
character on
shitty.
Right?
Okay,
Like,
that's
you'd think
just
that he'd have a more prominent
douche.
thing in there for $3,000 worth of the backing. I mean, yeah, it's not even like 1% of the actual earnings for the game, which I think was estimated just to be a little under $4 million with all the Kickstarter stuff. I think it was both Kickstarter and the other service that's like a crowdfunding. Like, Kickstarter got the bulk of it, like $2 million,
GoFundMe?
and then the rest of it was like, what the hell was that other thing?
GoFundMe, I think.
GoFundMe, yeah, it was GoFundMe and Kickstarter, and I think GoFundMe got about $1.5 million, and Kickstarter itself got like
rest.
2 million. Yeah, something like that. But
for $4 million, it doesn't matter how big or small a studio you are, you better deliver at least what the concept art promises. You don't deliver anything less. Like there are big name game companies that produce much better games for less. And they have to pay a lot more people.
yeah,
Small
and
studios mean it's supposed to be a labor of love, which means you're putting a lot more effort in than a big name company would, because they're splitting the work among a ton of employees, A, and B, it's just work for them.
yeah.
Right. That said,
Well,
there are some times
basically-
when you can't actually add what you're promising due to constraints on what you're building. That said, it didn't seem like that for the game that we are talking about.
Yeah,
it seems
they
like
actually-
they've released a concept, like they released a concept of a concept for Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, ironically enough, the company that was producing it was called Comcept.
Wait, was that seriously the company's name?
Concept? Yeah.
Speaking of which, that company was founded by Keiji Inafune. If the name sounds familiar, well then it doesn't. It shouldn't, because they were like, "Oh yeah, this dude is like the godfather of Mega Man." Every news article about that, or every online news outlet that was gaming related, touted that as his title, which was absolutely false, and it was completely a blatant lie. Because to be completely and perfectly honest, he was literally just the ideas guy in like one or two of the Mega Man games. Like, I don't know how many of his ideas made it into the games, but he was nowhere near high on the list as far as game development or even being involved in the development process goes.
In short, his role was basically a consultant. He's somebody that they went to and asked. Now, if we were going to include a mechanic into this game, what would it be?
Yeah, like
He helped design some of what made the Mega Man games the Mega Man games.
yeah,
Be it the
I want to say
jumping
that,
or the physics or something like that.
yeah, I want to say he went as far as to design at least one boss, but that's probably it. Other than that, like he didn't have any like the only thing he was involved in, as far as my memory goes, was like 2 of the 8-bit Mega Man games. I
If I
can
might
probably
interject for a second, because
Yeah.
this is something that's interesting. On the topic of people creating bosses, did you know that in Final Fantasy XIV, Yoko Taro, the guy who created Nier Automata and the whole Nier series, is given full creative reign over a 3-part series of raids. He is in Square Enix's studio right now, coding those raids right now. Yoko Taro.
That name does sound familiar.
Yeah, he's the guy who's so weird he never removes his like moon mask thing in public.
Oh, that guy.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
the weirdo. Like he's a weirdo, but he's like, I think it's just incredibly shy or something.
Me and it actually Echo, you okay
Yes,
with me mentioning
we've mentioned him before. Like, he's weird, yes, but he also does great work and is actually really well liked by a lot of the people who work under him.
Well,
At least as
I
far
was
as I
gonna
know.
say, Seiryu, I'm in the furry fandom, and there are much weirder people than that. Trust me, dude.
Yes, we're aware. We all know what yiffers are.
No, even weirder than that.
Japan
Croppers?
is like the epitome of the definition of weird.
Yes and no. For people that are so closed in, I want to say, for people who are so prudish, they have they produce some very weird things.
Yeah.
Like they have some genuine social problems that are the reason that they're falling birth rates. But that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
Or you can just go to Gaijin Goomba's video about it. He's
Yeah,
done like,
he's-
what, 2,
yeah.
3 of those videos? Which
He's done enough to. He's actually outlined them in ways that anybody can understand. So if you like learning about stuff, especially Japan, he is your go-to man.
Yeah, Gaijin Goomba is great. I learned about him, I think, through I want to say the Game Theorists.
Yeah, he's actually part of the Game Theorist team. He's got the
nice.
they've got the same editors, and he does work on some of their videos.
I do
Yeah, that
actually
makes
feel a
sense.
little sorry for him, considering he works under MatPat.
What's wrong with MatPat?
I mean,
I don't know,
MatPat's a
this
nice
It's like a
guy,
topic for
but
another episode.
yeah.
Let's get back on track. I wanted to say, for anybody listening to this as a Nerd Talk video, this is completely unscripted, and we're just going off the top of our heads.
Welcome to Nerd Talks!
To be fair, that's usually how the best shit goes. It's just you get a
Right,
couple
we
people
just-
who had a decent topic together, and you just go from there.
Right, like that's
Exactly.
the whole concept. Foil was actually the one that came up. Well, Foil and Shadow are the ones that actually came up with the idea. I just rolled with it.
Nice.
And every now and again we get our videos just because when somebody says, "Hey, this is the kind of topic that we should be recording."
Right.
Yeah.
Like
It
that's
just
pretty
kinda
much
went
how it
from
came
there.
up. Right.
And that's how today's episode just happened.
Yeah, we were
I
talking
just
about
talking to this voice chat, not having any expectations, and then it's like all of a sudden, hey, do you want to record this? I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, Seiryu, the crazy one, and these two nut jobs were
You call
both.
me crazy.
Dude, you fucking made a joke about burning down an orphanage in front of my grandmother.
Good
Hey,
lord.
Look, what if those orphans actually deserved it?
Unless they're Hitler as a child, I don't see a reason.
Whoa, stop right there, stop right there. Hitler as a child was actually completely innocent. He only killed millions of people because he didn't get accepted into art school.
That's half true.
Look, if he had gotten into art school, he would have followed his passions and gone completely elsewhere.
Also, First World War didn't really help.
I mean, yeah, but he might not have gone into government if he, had gotten accepted to art school.
Actually, I've never even
I have no
seen some of
comment
his
on
actually
this.
art, but I've
I have, and he was actually really good. The problem was that he wasn't good enough for these people at this. It was like an elite art school kind of thing, because this was back when you actually had to produce something that would last through the ages for them to consider accepting you. So basically, you already had to be a master at your craft to get in, and then at that point, you're not going to learn much more.
Yeah.
But his art was actually very good. And it's just like you just wonder what kind of person would he have been if he hadn't been rejected. Like shit like that. There's turning points all throughout history where if one thing hadn't happened or changed or been
Still,
different,
my point was you made a joke about burning down an orphanage in front of my grandmother, dude.
I mean, who really needs orphanages nowadays, anyways?
Orphans. What the fuck, dude?
No. Orphans don't need orphanages. Orphans need parents.
Not to try and play conductor here, but I think this train is getting a little bit derailed.
Right. I was just trying to make a joke about how you two are kind of semi-crazy, both in your own ways.
Oh, no. I'm not semi-crazy. I am... Hold on just a goddamn second. I just found a man who looks like Keanu Reeves, and his in-game name is Juan Wick.
Well, there you go.
He looks like John Wick. I'm taking a screenshot right now.
That's awesome.
Feel free to send it.
I'm sending it right now. If you don't include this,
I'm going to include it. Are you crazy? Why would I not?
Here's a shout out to Juan Wick.
So I was looking at the Mighty Number 9's Wikipedia, looking through the major people involved in there. Get this: Keiji Inafune was only the writer. He had no director or producer or even a designer credit. He was just the writer. So he's like, "Hey, I'm just gonna make this Mega Man game and Mega Man style game, like fund us." But he was just the writer. He had apparently no creative control over the entire game.
No, see, that means that he might not actually be at fault, because if you have no creative control, the writers can take it the programmers can take it anywhere they want. So
yeah, we could blame the directors and the producers for that.
So for all we know, the quote unquote grandfather of Mega Man actually had no fault in this.
Yeah, like I said, he was just the ideas guy for the original series, and then that's about it. Like he didn't even work on. I'm actually going to look up his freaking biography to see what he actually did.
Because it could just be a situation where it was like Kojima and Konami, where they took away his creative abilities and just kept his name on their products.
Which great going, Capcom.
Yeah,
great
he created his own.
Great
he
stuff.
left and created his own company.
Okay, so I'm actually looking. He joined Capcom as an illustrator.
So he wasn't even a writer, he was an artist.
Yeah, but the first thing he actually worked on was
can be a writer
first
too.
Walkman. He just designed minor enemy characters, and he designed Elecman. That's about it for the first game. He had tried to design him as if he was a character in the American comic series. He also drew the Japanese box art. Okay, so he was the artist for the first Mega Man. Of minor and a little bit of some stuff.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So he did a little bit, but he still wasn't as high up as people thought he was. I think let's see. Okay, so he also worked on the art for the second game's Robot Masters. He did, people apparently in Japan, sent in designs to use for all the Robot Masters after the success of the first game, and Inafune's job was to turn those winning designs into professional sprites.
All right. So he did have something of a design, something of a big role.
Yeah, he didn't have, but it's still not as big as people thought he was. Like,
No.
okay, so he designed robot masters essentially, and he turned them into pixels.
Yeah, basically he was a pixel artist, but
Yeah,
even so, that's
he didn't
that's
program them or tell them, or he didn't program them or make them do the things they were supposed to do in the game. He had no developmental. He was all visual. But that still doesn't give him enough like credence to actually say, "Hey, I'm going to help design a Mega Man game." And not but it won't be Mega Man.
And then we turn the page.
Yeah, let's get
We're
let's
talking
get
about
out of the background. So we've established Inafune as just simply an ideas guy and a character artist for all intents and purposes. I
And
think
then we go on.
oh, okay, so this is a major thing. He designed Zero.
Oh,
Okay,
really?
so Zero was a
Yeah,
major character.
he designed Zero. So
Like,
again,
what
he's
aspects of the
still
art?
like he's still a character designer. He's not like I don't think he actually had any major design he had any major things other than just designing characters for the game. That still doesn't give you a qualification to design a whole game, even though you're lightly involved in Mega Man, I guess would be the phrase.
I wouldn't say lightly, because Zero was popular enough to literally have his own series of games.
Yeah, that's
Pretty sure.
true, but after the design evolved, it was no longer his original design.
This is true. Like I remember playing the Mega Man ZX series, and those ones were like the ones that I actually really enjoyed.
I watched those games get released, but I never had any like major interest in them. In fact, my interest kind of waned after the first three X games.
Okay, ZX was different. It was like post X.
Ah,
Meanwhile,
so
I'm the pleb that
assuming
never
X has
played the
been
game.
destroyed or something after that.
I can tell you about it later. But
Yeah, let's continue on with why what was up with Inafune and deciding, hey, I'm just going to make this game that's like Mega Man, but not really.
and we can sum it up as he got a team together and got $4 million on Kickstarter and GoFundMe, and then produced absolute shit that looked nothing like the concept art and played horribly.
Yeah.
Okay, the playing horribly, I've heard mixed reviews on that.
Mixed reviews are okay.
Like, I've heard people say it's bad, I've heard people say it's good. I'm not entirely certain which is... Like, I'd have to play the game myself.
Okay, that is the beauty of mixed reviews, though. You can have it's just one of those things where you won't know if you'll like it until you play.
Right.
Well, here's the thing, though. Pretty much a lot of the backers for the Kickstarter projects, they generally hate it because they don't think their money was
Properly spent.
Exactly. They feel like their money was misappropriated, for
And
lack of a better term.
Misappropriated is probably the best possible term we could put here.
Yeah.
Embezzled would be the term I might use, or swindled.
I think embezzled might be too much, but I would definitely say misappropriated is the best term I could come up with.
Yeah, probably.
Because you have this concept art, and I remember looking at it on my 3DS and Lido number 9, and thinking, "Wow, this game actually looks fairly decent," and putting it on my wish list. I don't play Mega Man games very often, but I gave this one. I actually considered playing it based on the concept art.
Yeah.
Apparently, it doesn't look anything like the art I saw, and now I'm just totally not interested. Nor does it play like the way they described it. But I can't say that for certain, as I haven't actually played the game. I could look up a video right now, I guess. And
Yeah.
I think I can do that just to get an idea here. Hang on.
Right, but
I actually watched
looking at a video doesn't really...
But you can get an
equate
idea
to-
of what.
Well,
Nobody can get an
right.
idea.
One thing I did was I watched a video of somebody who actually invested a decent amount of money into the game. Even though I don't really endorse him anymore. I watched Pro Jared's video of it. It's like he did like 3 episodes, and during the course of him live streaming it, you can see the absolute disgust and frustration set into his face as he keeps playing it, and he was basically downright broken by the time he finished it.
Oh, right, I forgot. He actually he actually uses a camera whenever he
Yeah,
he
he
uses
had
a face
face cam.
cam.
Yeah, he had face cam, and just to basically sum the game up, the credits are longer than the game itself.
That's horrible.
That's
The credits are, I kid you not, for everybody that backed the game, they literally have like a 4 or 5 hour credit sequence where all of the people that backed the game are listed.
For $4
Where
million, that's I'm guessing like about 40, $50 at a time, or maybe the lower tiers like 15 and 20. That's going to be a ton of people, and they made $4 million.
yeah,
Like they did
there's
not spend that on development, or if they did, they got ripped off horribly.
yeah, it's really sad when the credits are longer than the actual game, which I think, if I remember right, the game itself is anywhere between like 3 and 4 hours long, and the credits are just basically a little over that length.
And I think when I saw maybe number 9 and like the price for it, it was about $30.
Yeah, I think it's dropped down to like 20 now, but when it was
That's
first out, I think it was either 30 or 40. I might have been full retail price, and I don't remember, but if anybody bought it for $60 and
no
basically
30.
they only bought like a 3 or 4 hour game, and that's ridiculous. Like we're like there's no satisfying ending to the game. There's just a cutscene and then it goes straight to black, and then credit roll.
I mean, and the same concept. There's a game that came out kind of recently,
Mhm.
a plague tale. It's $50 or $60, and it's about 8 to 10 hours long, maybe a little shorter. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it has it's a story. It's a storytelling game where the gameplay is. I don't want to say kind of like The Walking Dead, the Telltale series. It's
Hmm.
definitely not like that. But I've seen. It's kind of like a stealth game. You don't do much fighting,
Right.
but they're telling a story, and they spent a lot of money on making it look utterly fantastic. So in that case, that's forgiven. The price tag is a little high for how short it is, but it's not unbearable.
Yeah.
But Friday number 9 did, for the amount of money that went into it, definitely needed to be longer, definitely needed to play better, and definitely needed to look better. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how small. Like as I said earlier, I don't know if we were on recording when I said that, but smaller studios, and I think Monday Number 9 had a small studio. Generally speaking, their games are meant to be labors of love, meaning you're going to get usually pretty high quality, especially if they have a lot of funding, because they're doing that stuff because they want to do it.
Hmm.
On the other hand,
Right.
you can also get some total shit, like people who just slapped something together. But
Well,
for
there
$4
was
million
two
on
developers.
Kickstarter,
There was two developers actually working on the game. There was Concept, which was Inafune's company, and there was Inti Creates, which I have no idea. They're apparently involved in Mega Man Zero and ZX, and their flagship series is the Gunvolt series.
see,
Gunvolt.
Azure Striker Gunvolt, which is another one it's basically a Mega Man clone.
Yeah,
And as far as I'm aware, they put kind of an emphasis on story, despite the fact that it came out kind of weird and looks kind of janky. But they have some decent sprite work, and it doesn't play bad. As far as I'm aware, because I haven't played that one either, but that's just stuff I've heard.
yeah. Supposedly those games play way better. But here's the thing: like the difference between Mighty Number 9 and a regular Mega Man game, you want to come back to Mega Man because it's so addicting and fun to play. Like I've played the absolute hell out of the X trilogy, and I haven't gotten any farther than X3 because that's kind of like I said earlier. I don't know if we were recording that, but that's where my interest was waned. Like right after that, because I didn't have a PlayStation. I didn't want to jump consoles with the Mega Man games, and so I never got to experience anything beyond 3. That's where my classic Mega Man expertise basically drops off. I never even played Mega Man 64, aka Legends. I haven't played anything beyond that. Like literally, my interest is Mega Man 2. Mega Man 2, then X1 and 2 and 3. That's about it. Because Mega Man 1, as fun as it was, seemed pretty clunky. And Mega Man 2 is just the epitome of the series, I believe. 3, they kind of added the slide technique, and I don't know. I tried to play that, and it didn't really seem as fun as 2, nor did it have the catchy music that 2 did. Like, I will only play 2 if I were to pick any of the classic Mega Mans for not only the gameplay but the music. It's just that good.
Yeah, Mega Man 2 had some legendary music, and I remember
Legendary is probably a little underselling it, but yeah.
you can say yeah. I guess I can't deny that, but I remember like
I don't think there's any bad songs in Mega Man 2.
I remember like 5-10 years ago there was like a parody video on YouTube called "I Can't Beat Leaf Man," and it was just a whole. Yeah, "I Can't Beat Leaf Man" was it, and it was, I think it was like the main theme, but
how though? Like, once you get the metal blades, he just gets destroyed.
that was
Like,
the thing.
the metal
'cause
blades come through his leaf shield.
that was the thing, because it was basically a song about a player not knowing they needed the metal blades, or having trouble beating the guy who gives you the metal blades, and then basically going through the bosses in order until he actually got to one that he could beat.
So
Right.
in other words, it's a story about the pleb we all were the first time we played any game.
It's Noob's mistake at not realizing there's rock paper scissors element to the game. Not to mention how not to mention strategy with the boss fighting itself. Like, you can get through with the Mega or the X Buster in Mega Man X or the original games just fine. You just have to take a little bit longer. But once you find that weakness, it's basically all over for the boss. Like, I was playing through X3, which I don't know if this was mentioned during recording or not, but I was playing X3 as a hack, and I gotta say, this hack is just great. I can't praise all the original games as much anymore, like, because there's been a lot of hacks for the original games, and I'd say
Right.
of all the ones that I would play, the X3 hack is probably the one that I definitely recommend everybody play, because the original game just pales in comparison to what the hack changes as far as gameplay goes. Like, as if
Right,
the
which,
X games weren't good enough, that, hacking makes them a little better and a little more accessible, and probably brings them up to more of a modern standard. Like, I have a hack for X1 that apparently changes the controls a little bit, and changes the layout of the stages a little bit, but still it's in the spirit of the original game, whereas the controls are not as clunky as they used to be, because X2 actually had slightly better maneuvering controls. Like, for example, you could hold down the dash button and basically jump off the walls while still dashing and retain that speed. In X1, you can't do that. You have to keep, double tapping the control pad while you jump off, and you can't. And it's weird to go back from X2 to X1 and then have that feature not there. There's a hack that does that.
Yeah, that's been a thing about games that I've always hated. Like, if you start with the sequel and get used to some of the features, and then go back and play like an earlier title because you actually got your hands on it, and then some of those features aren't there, it's just really weird.
Right.
I got my hands on a bunch of PS2 games recently, including the Full Metal Alchemist PS2 games. They're basically beat 'em ups. But I started.
Wait, there's a Full Metal Alchemist
PS2
game on the PlayStation 2. I must find this.
Yeah,
I'm getting a PlayStation 2 soon.
emulator.
No, like an actual game,
Yeah.
or an actual console.
The first one is called Full Metal Alchemist and the Broken Angel. But from what I read online, because I started with the second one, there were some issues with the first one, and then there were issues with the second one as well, that about not having some features that weren't in the first game, like weapons, for example. Apparently, the first game can give you a sword. Your swords are just cool. And the second game didn't have one. Like, they gave you a spear and other things, but there's just I'm kind of getting off topic here. Basically, it's kind of janky if you start with the sequel, and it has a neat quality of life feature, and then you go back and that quality of life feature is nowhere to be found.
Sheesh. Yeah, speaking of going back to hacks and the X series, X1 has a number of hacks, X3 has a number of hacks. I looked at romhacking.net, and X2 has none. Basically, it's kind of funny, but Capcom produces the best double number sequels, like number 2 sequels. Street Fighter 2 was goddamn perfect and had its own spin-off of games. Mega Man 2 was basically perfect. X2 was another perfect game that they produced. But let's get back to the other topic we're going. So
on the same topic, though, Microsoft has been similar with that in terms of their operating systems. Every other operating system is good.
oh yeah,
But the other ones in between are just kind of meh at best and bad at worst.
yeah, like it's kind of funny. Let's see, was it XP was great, and then what was right after that?
Vista.
Well,
Was it Vista?
I'm pretty sure it was
yeah,
Vista.
Vista sucked ass.
I actually liked Vista though, because that was like my first PC, and I got to like Vista.
But then you never got 7, did you?
Oh, I have 7 now, and I'm
Yeah,
kind
I
of
had-
kicking myself that I ever got the.
Wait,
full
are
upgrade.
you
I actually
you're
had 7
using
before.
7?
Yes, 7
Why?
Pro.
My last PC had 7. It
Okay,
was
there's
good.
There's a reason I use 7 and not 10. The fact that I'm looking to upgrade now, that's because Windows 10 is, I don't want to say it's a buggy mess, but they had at one time a built-in keylogger. So there would literally be a log file with every key you've ever pressed, meaning hackers could, if a hacker ever got into your PC, they could find out all the passwords by analyzing that.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, and
Seiryu shadows
also-
it online, and
That got
he
dummied out.
It's also
Sorry.
it also wasn't very user friendly at first. 8 was kind of really not user friendly either, because that was their attempt to make a hybrid OS for both phones and PCs. But there's also a lot of games that don't support Windows 10. That's obviously changing now because support for 7 and prior is going away as of next
Right.
year, actually. So I need to start investing in a new operating system. Just gotta get myself a external drive.
just get a Windows 10.
Yeah, I need to talk to to Dell, because I did get a warranty and they had a disc, and if I tell them the disc is damaged, they might give me a new one.
Oh, that's good at least.
But we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Wait, this is a little off topic, but Seiryu, you remember that little chat we had on
The one where
in
the one about a raccoon being able to get inside your asshole.
No!
What?
God, no!
Oh yeah, did you know that the human rectum is 2.5 inches? But and a raccoon can fit anything that's 4 inches wide. A raccoon
Choo
can
choo,
really get inside
conductor
your
here. Okay, so I was looking around at the
Anyway, that's not
Yeah.
the topic I was talking about, Seiryu.
yeah, so I'm gonna get us back on track here. So
Well, hold on, I
here's-
want to
here's
actually
the biggest
state this real
controversy
quick.
that happened during Mighty Number 9's Kickstarter and everything. Inafune launched a second Kickstarter before Mighty Number 9 was even finished. And the status of this game is completely unknown. It's supposed to have been called Red, where the hell is it? I think I have to scroll a little bit past this. Oh yeah, friggin' Red something or what the hell is it? God damn it. Red Ash, there we go.
Red Ash.
Yeah, so Red Ash, literally in the middle of trying to develop Mighty Number 9, they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to start another one. Please give us more money for another reason that doesn't involve Mighty Number 9. And needless to say, that Kickstarter just bombed because they wanted $800,000 for that game. And it's like, dude, finish the game you started with. Why are you trying to do another game?
Like,
And-
you're not a
and-
big company with multiple business divisions that can work on multiple games. If you try to split your attention between 2 games, you're gonna lose quality on both.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly why Mighty Number 9 suffered as much as it did, because between the concept art that it looked like and the graphics that showed up in any of the versions afterwards, like the dive in quality is really noticeable. And even though that apparently Red Ash got actually funded by like a Chinese company, the game itself is still like in a TBA stage. Like it's supposed to star the same character as Mighty Number 9 apparently, because both of the names, I don't know if his name is a placeholder, but both of the names of the main characters are still called Beck. Which
Yeah, what I'm hearing
it's kind of dumb. I always wanted to know why is the name of the character in Mighty Number 9 named Beck?
because it sounds like, okay, my understanding is, and this is after playing another game where they tried to use English names, his name could have been Buck, but due to errors in translation, it might have gotten turned to Beck. For example, I played a game where this was Cosmic Break, and it was a Japanese company producing it. They had to make they made a robot called Gawain, like Lancelot, like from the Lancelot Arthurian saga.
Right.
thing,
Yes, Sir Gawain.
like Gawain. But they changed. But because of errors in translation, it got misspelled horribly and is now pronounced differently. How did they pronounce it? There were a lot of Y's, like the letter Y. I mean, it went through a number of changes too before they ended up changing it back. At one point, I think it was actually Galdine or something. Because translation between Japanese and English is hard sometimes. So it could have just been that Beck was supposed to be Buck or something. Who knows?
Actually, I found out why. Okay, so if we all remember the original name of Mega Man, Rock. And he had a dog named Roll.
No, he didn't have a dog named Roll.
Oh, right, the dog was Rush. Okay, that's right. Yeah. The dog was Rush. Roll. Okay. Actually, there was a female robot named Roll.
Yes.
Which actually, somehow kept her actual name instead of, because it's funny. Mega Man's name is Rock. Her name is Roll. Put that together. Rock and Roll.
That was actually the whole joke.
Yeah.
Like any major character had a music-themed name. Just like in Dragon Ball Z, any major character is named after a vegetable.
Yeah, right.
Wait. So then what's Goku named after?
A carrot. His name is Kakarot. His name is Kakarot, which
is
it's a mistranslation of. It's an intentional mistranslation of carrot.
Yep.
And Vegeta, Vegeta was
like Vegeta vegetable. Piccolo is a pickle.
Yeah.
So the reason why his name is Beck is because his robot partner's name is Call. Beck and Call.
Oh.
Beck and Call. Yeah.
I heard
Beck.
Back. Yeah.
It could be Call Beck, but if you say it alphabetically, it's Beck and Call.
Yeah.
It's still pretty dumb. It's basically like a really watered down cast of Mega Man characters, because this is really stupid, but the other characters in the game is Dr. William White.
William White.
Yeah, so he designed Beck. White? Yeah, so Dr. White instead of Dr. Light.
So what I'm hearing, all I'm hearing is that it is a $4 million crappy clone of Mega Man, where they did everything possible to be as original, as not original as possible.
Yeah, like there's some original concepts in the game, but for the most part, like the apparently the quote unquote bad guy that was in the game is Dr. Black, but Dr. Blackwell, or just simply Dr. Black. So the two main doctors in the game are Dr. Black and White.
Huh.
And it turns out that apparently something happened where Dr. Black's father or something or other happened or something. And there's also a Dr. Sanda, which because there's this character named Dr. Sanda who's kind of a fat, jolly dude, and everyone jokingly calls him Santa.
I can kind of see why.
Yeah. But here's the kind of dumb thing. During the cutscenes, the characters have lockjaw. It's like looking back and playing Drake of the 99 Dragons, where no one's mouth moves. Like, you really couldn't have had them at least having the mouths, at least, playing an animation that looks like they're actually talking, rather than having Drake of the 99 Dragons lockjaw. That was one of the biggest criticisms of the game, and with the cutscenes at least. Like, the character models look decent, they're nice and colorful, and everyone looks like people. But
That's an issue with a lot of Japanese games with sprites, or just sprite-based games in general, though. It's hard to do mouth movements on sprites, since you...
But here's the thing,
It's
though.
a, it's a,
It's not
Wasn't
all
Mighty Number
sprites.
9
It's
3D
made in the
models?
Mighty Number 9 is made in the Unreal Engine, and everything you see, there's some sprite backgrounds, but most of it is 3D modeling.
Huh. Then
Yeah.
they have no excuse.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it just, it's so dumb. And they had to adapt Unreal Engine 3 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different platforms when they released it. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Including. So yeah, it got released on Windows, PS3, PS4, Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and did the 3DS get released eventually?
Mm-hmm.
Mighty Number 9, yeah, it was out on 3DS. You could buy it.
Okay, so it finally did get released on the 3DS, but
Well,
it was
wasn't
also.
finally.
No! I take that back.
It was on the first platforms.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. They never got the Vita, or the 3DS release. They were planned versions of the Vita and 3DS, but that never happened.
But you could actually have bought it on the 3DS. It was out for a while.
Huh.
I think.
I'm going to look that up really quick. I swear it never actually
I
came
might
out to the handheld systems.
I might be thinking of Azure Striker Gunvolt.
That's probably is because, yeah, that the Gunvolt characters, the Mighty Number 9 characters ended up being put onto
Gunvolt.
the Mighty Gunvolt, yeah.
Mighty Gunvolt. I mean, to be fair, Gunvolt
Yeah, I'm looking
was
at
far
Nintendo's
better.
website. Release date, TBD.
Damn.
Yeah. 3 goddamn years later, and it's still not out for 3DS.
That would
But
be
everything
why the
else
Chinese
got
company
it.
that bought it is kind of still dragging their feet, because they knew it was a failure, or Mighty Number 9 was a failure, and that they might not be able to produce Red Dust or whatever it is.
Red Ash. It might as well be Red Dust because no one remembers it.
Yeah, that Thanos. Yeah, when Thanos snapped, Red Dust went up too.
Yeah. So, just a quick
Really?
synopsis of what the gameplay is like for this game. You can still move and jump and shoot just like Mega Man, but the game discourages you from outright destroying enemies. What it actually tells you to do is to dash into enemies and absorb them.
No, see, any Mega Man player wouldn't want to do that, because that is how you die.
Any
Exactly.
game player wouldn't want to do
exactly
that.
the opposite way of how to. That's like any other game where you play. It's bad to touch enemies in any state whatsoever. Don't touch enemies. Just keep your distance and either avoid them or destroy them. That's basically how you get rid of every obstacle in any Mega Man game.
Yeah, because most enemies, the instant you touch them, you take damage, because
Oh, yeah.
that's the hitbox.
Yep. So basically, it's promoting bad. I mean, it's a different and interesting mechanic, but at the same time, it promotes bad gameplay habits. Like, what if suddenly you've been playing Mighty Number 9, God forbid, if you should spend any sort of time on this game, playing that for I don't know, you're used to it, you play it, and then you go do a Mega Man game and you try to dash into somebody and then you just get hurt.
Yeah, that's how you die.
Yeah. I've done that accidentally so many times because I was trying to get away from an enemy and I accidentally ended up double tapping the D-pad towards an enemy and then died.
See, I would just play Mighty Number 9 like any other Mega Man game, just to prevent myself from getting bad habits.
But the thing is, you actually get better points and recover health by dashing into enemies. Further proving the point that that's promoting bad gameplay habits.
On the other hand, though, it's a Mega Man clone, so you really shouldn't have that kind of thing to begin with.
Exactly.
If it had at least some differences from Mega Man, then that would actually be a valid gameplay mechanic, because as long as they make it abundantly clear that the enemy is down and you can collect or finish them for health and shit, then yeah, that's fine. Like a finisher, kind of like in Doom.
Or or Mortal Kombat.
But in Doom, it was a gameplay mechanic where if the enemy was on the brink of death and they would get stunned for a minute, and they would flash either yellow or red, and then you could approach them, press a button. Since it's Doom, you execute them in a gory splash of blood and guts. But
oh yeah, you're talking about the new Doom.
Not Doom Eternal, no, but the old, the 2016 version. I don't know about Doom Eternal.
That's the new one.
Yeah.
You have to say it like you're yelling it because it's in all caps.
But that's, yes, the modern ones are what I'm talking about. That you could execute enemies that way, get a little health back, get a little armor back.
You could do the same thing in Brutal Doom.
Yeah, well, I haven't played Brutal Doom because that's a mod of the original Doom.
It's a great mod of the game.
Yes, I'm fully aware of this. But
they just recently released version 21 Gold, which is pretty much the final version, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually played it yet, and if my computer would cooperate, I would probably stream it.
Actually, that brings me to something. Since I think this is technically your first time on the channel, dude.
Yeah,
want to give yourself a shout
I completely forgot to actually introduce myself.
Yeah, we should have probably gotten formalities out of the way, but meh.
Yeah.
We were too focused on the topic.
Sparta, how come I don't have a YouTube channel tag?
Because, for one, you technically work on my channel, and two, as mean as it sounds, you haven't really posted anything.
Shut up, I got a subscriber a week ago. I'm giving myself the tag, you can't stop me.
Alright, go for it.
Too late, I did a while ago. We've been talking about Mighty Number 9 for a long-ass time after we left.
Hold on.
Let's wrap up this discussion here. So basically the conclusion is this Kickstarter just turned into a giant mess, and eventually the updates for the Kickstarter until the release basically slowed down to a trickle. When it finally did get released, backers didn't get everything they were promised. I don't think even to this day, not all of the rewards were given out, and the ones that were like offered, like the NES or the Famicom style box, they were promised like full color artwork books that resembled the player's book, which they only ended up being monochrome one color, like a dark blue color or something. And sometimes the decorative flash drives that were promised as reward, they ran out, so they just gave away codes for the games to download. And it basically just ended in a flaming shit pile of a disaster.
In other words, they pulled a Bethesda.
Pretty much.
It's not that, because Bethesda is actually giving out those canvas bags now. Like they act
supposedly. Once I actually see people getting those canvas bags,
but they outright said publicly they're going to send out the canvas bags, and after the fiasco that damaged their reputation, I think they're going to actually send them, since Bethesda up until 76 has been good
about it.
Yeah, they Bethesda'd before Bethesda even Bethesda'd. But yeah, just to iterate how bad this got handled, like even the English translator that mostly worked on the game with Inafune himself, Ben Judd, he was like visibly face palming at the gameplay and everything, because they were doing the live stream release event and they were showing it, and to paraphrase, he said it's as good as it's gonna get, and it's better to release something that's good enough rather than to release something at all, because I think the game got delayed no less than like 5 times.
But that's a terrible way to go about game development. Have they never heard Miyamoto's quote?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
On the topic of stuff that doesn't deliver,
that's the complete opposite of Miyamoto's quote.
On the topic of stuff that doesn't deliver as promised, there was another Kickstarter project. It wasn't a game, but it was a water bottle that was supposed to collect/generate water by pulling it out of the air over time.
That sounds like a scam right off the bat.
Well,
yeah,
that just sounds like an outright scam. How the hell?
Hold on, before we continue,
It was because what they described creating on their Kickstarter page was a dehumidifier. But they overpromised A, and B, they never actually got to work on creating a prototype. Literally 5 years. Literally 5 years after, I think the Kickstarter page finally got taken down because for fraudulent stuff.
Good lord.
But they promised a water bottle that you would put on that, where the cap was like this kind of big thing that was about a third the size of the bottle, that as you went around town on your bike or whatnot, it would pull water out of the air and collect it in the bottle for you. But they said it would get a full fill in about 4 hours. Regular dehumidifier the size of a room can barely do that.
That's kind of bad.
So anyways, like us.
Yeah, you want to do your shout out now, because we've kind of, or Seryu's kind of interrupted it multiple times.
Yeah, sure. So I am That Wolf. Yeah, I am That Wolf from Hyrule, otherwise known as Hylian Wolf or Echo or just Wolf or whatever combination of things. Basically, I guess I'm a furry content creator that, well, not necessarily directly furry, but I mean, I have furry character representation, so it might as well be. I just mostly stick to retro gaming, as well as, well, some stuff that's like modern retro, I guess. Like, Brutal Doom is an example of a modern retro because you have modern mechanics in the game, yet it's still the gameplay of Doom, as well as I play a lot of GoldenEye Source, which is a source port of the GoldenEye's famous GoldenEye 007's multiplayer, which is just hella fun, but yet it's still classic because it's still GoldenEye.
Until someone pulls Oddjob.
Actually, Oddjob is correctly scaled. He's not small. For whatever reason, they thought he was shorter, but he's actually an average-sized man.
Huh.
Yeah, that's the giant misconception between Oddjob, the character, and the actor that played Oddjob.
Another misconception.
The more you know.
Another misconception is you may notice that I have like a cute little fox girl on as my Discord picture. I have it because I think it's cute. Just because I
didn't actually notice that.
Just because you click on, just because you have something you think is cute and decide to use it for your channel art or whatever, or Discord server icon or whatever the hell, doesn't mean you have to identify with something. If you like the art style, it just means you like the art style. If you identify as a furry, then as a furry.
Like, here's the thing with the channel. Me and Sonic are the only furries. For those of you who think that Shadow is a furry and Foil are a furry,
the answer is no.
They are not.
What happened was Sparta created.
I don't like drawing people.
Yeah, Sparta doesn't like drawing people. Sparta created their pictures, their Discord icons and stuff.
Shadows is actually a play on his gamer tag that he uses for most anything. Yeah. Because if any of you are Elder Scrolls fans, you would know what a Lost Shadow scale is.
Little TNA about us. I mean, TNA Q&A.
Would it be TNA?
TNA means tits and ass. So I don't think so.
Okay, no. No, it would not be that. Seiryu, just continue.
But
anyways,
I already basically made my point.
Yeah. Anyways, I might be on this Nerd Talk intermittently because we have some interesting shit to talk about.
I mean, I know I'm not the most active, but I'm still here.
Yeah. And we do have another YouTuber by the name of Joe the Hellhound, which at some point would be interesting to have all three of the YouTubers on.
That would be just interesting, yeah.
On the topic of furries and stuff, when Shadowbringers comes out on the 2nd of July, since I have early access, it'll be the 28th of June. They will be adding a new race called the Hrothgar, which is basically big, burly, furry daddy. Let me see if I can find you a picture.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
If we were still working with Kit, I know damn well he'd make some sort of joke at that point.
Hey, Hrothgar, FFXIV. Here we go. I present to you some JoJo posing Hrothgar.
Wait, what? I need to see this. It looks like a Khajiit.
These guys,
a lot more muscular.
these are the guys from Final Fantasy X, I believe. The Rons, these are basically knockoff Ronso.
Okay.
But that means that if you like your characters to have a bit more fur, you can have these bad boys as soon as you buy Shadowbringers and start playing on the second. Play with me, I'm so lonely.
Alright. You know, Seiryu, you could always join us.
I could, yes, but I told you I have a massive backlog I'm trying to work through now.
Well, damn. So should we, with that out of the way, should we segue to the second topic of this?
Bloodstain, Curse of the
Yeah,
Moon.
sure, why not?
Bloodstain, the creator of Castlevania, and why it's better than the current Castlevania games, maybe. Honestly, the last Castlevania game I actually played was probably Super Castlevania, which I might get some bad comments for this. I think it's the best game of the series on Super Nintendo, on the original classic systems. Symphony of the Night, I've seen played, and there's like one common gripe with Symphony of the Night is that after dying, the reloading takes for goddamn ever. Aside from that, the first game was great. The second game, not so much, but if you find the redacted hack, the game becomes way better. The third game is probably decent, but also really unforgiving and kind of bullshit toward the end of the game.
Right, just so that everybody is aware, the game we're talking about is called Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. There is a prequel that has the old Castlevania art style called Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, but Bloodstained Ritual of the Night releases tomorrow, June 18th, 2019. To reference, at nighttime it is 10:47 p.m. Monday, June 17th, 2019.
Speak for yourself.
That means
for Lycos and I, it's only 7:47.
But that means that the game we're talking about right now is not out yet, but it will be out tomorrow.
Which for you, more than likely was a few days ago. Sorry.
Yeah, by the time people are watching this on YouTube, I'm pretty sure that the game has already been released, and so now we're talking about it. Weirdly, this is kind of a bit of a meta thing to think about. We're talking it before it was released, but this video is going to be published after it's released. So, Inception.
I'm a little bit.
I might buy it.
Okay, the reason the video is going to be going up later is because right now I just want to focus on getting content recorded
and then releasing it,
and then working on it.
Yeah, recording the content before, and it's kind of weird the way I work. I usually. Yeah, like I usually edit the day of recording and then get everything out as quickly as possible, and that's just how I work. Like when you see if you end up following me through YouTube and Twitch and whatever, you'll see my schedules being posted, and I'm pretty sure I have a schedule on my on my YouTube. I definitely for sure have one on my Twitch, but basically. The day of I'm supposed to be putting videos out is usually when I'm recording and then subsequently editing, and I have a streamlined process that allows me to record, edit, and publish in roughly 3 hours.
And that's not too bad.
Right, but it's actually been a little annoying because he's so hard-headed about it sometimes whenever I suggest, hey, dude, you could record ahead of time and save yourself a lot of headache.
To be fair,
that's not how I work, though.
Just saying.
To be fair.
I know it's not how you work, but every single time
To be fair, my own recording thing is kind of stupid because I record and then as soon as I finish recording, I post to YouTube, just like right there, right then.
Well, I would take suggestions if they were for games that I could play.
Final Fantasy XIV is free.
Like I have caveats for games. Because my PC is not all that great. My CPU apparently is like from 6 years ago. My GPU is definitely outdated and probably a little underpowered. And I more than likely need to clean out my entire system. By that I mean full system wipe, full shutdown, and I need like 2 or 3 cans of air, compressed air.
What you need is a rag and a rag covered in mineral oil.
So, in other words, a rag and ballastol.
Mineral oil. I don't know what ballastol is. Probably
It's
mineral oil.
ballastol is like a cleaning and lubricant oil.
Right. Well, no, not well.
It smells like pine.
As long as it's non-conductive, but there is a thing where some PC builds nowadays have all the parts submerged in mineral oil because it's apparently superior for cooling, but it's also and it doesn't rust the components. In fact, since it's oil, non-flammable oil, as a matter of fact, it takes the heat pretty well. And B, and it also keeps rust from sticking.
Huh. Well, I use ballastol to clean out carbon out of my firearms, as well as it goes good as a lubricant.
At the same time, I'm not going to tell people to just go and start dunking their computer parts in oil, because
we do not recommend that. If you do that to Seiryu mentioning it, that's kind of on you.
I saw a computer build that explicitly was designed to be played and with all the parts submerged this way. Just because I say that there is a computer out there that can do it doesn't mean you should go out there and do it. I would recommend you very quickly, before you do this, go and do some research first and make sure your part can actually be, safely submerged in oil.
Otherwise, Seiryu, you would have just told them to completely destroy their computer.
If I wanted to completely destroy their computer, I'd tell them to delete System 32. The oldest trick in the book.
Alt F4 the entire computer.
Lycos Gaming, we are not responsible for anything you do to your computer.
Disclaimer.
We don't condone destroying your computer. But at the same time, if you really want to make your computer go fast, you should overclock it and set all the settings to the highest possible value. That won't burn your computer out in 30 seconds.
I do not condone or get into this humor.
All right, so we were talking about Bloodstained, Castlevania, etc., etc.
Yes.
So, simply put, we were talking about how the guy who created the concept art for Mega Man created Mighty Number 9. The guy who actually wrote, designed, and created the original Castlevania games, and most of the games in the Castlevania series after that, on his own, independently with a small team, has created 2 games. Bloodstained, both under the title of Bloodstained. Curse of the Moon and Ritual of the Night. Curse of the Moon is a kind of prequel, as far as I'm aware, in the original Castlevania art style. And Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is a 3D game with multiple characters, weapons, and all sorts of goodies. It's a love letter to the original Castlevania fans, and it's basically supposed to be a massive upgrade on all concepts. And it's as true to the original creator's vision as it possibly can be, as he coded the game. At least to start.
I mean, as the saying goes, if you want something done right...
that was his original thing. He had a Kickstarter video that was in the Castlevania style as well, where he portrayed himself as Dracula, going through this castle, talking about his vision and his game. They were going through a torture chamber and stuff and whatnot, and it was all really really nice to watch and look at. And he talked talking about his visions for the game, and he is literally spearheading the whole thing. This is a guy who actually knows how to make the games that he wants.
Yeah, the whole argument in this situation was that the guy who was pushing the Kickstarter for Mighty Number 9 was little more than a concept artist, a character designer, and basically an illustrator, rather than being supremely directly involved in quote-unquote the godfather of Mega Man, as everyone said he was. This game is completely different in the fact that the guy making it actually created the series, which is what Mighty Number 9 should have been in the first place, rather than just the whimsical dreams of a guy who made characters for a living.
And again, he used Kickstarter because this was a private project, unaffiliated with Capcom or any other big companies. I'm gonna see if I can find his page right now, and then I'll post a link for everybody to this. Well, I'll keep talking in the meantime. Give me some time here. Fine.
Yeah, this is
I'm
basically your topic because I know next to nothing about this other than the fact that I love the first three and I guess not really discounting vanilla Simon's Quest.
Okay,
I do like
Okay, so
I do like
created-
Castlevania 1, 3,
it.
and Super Castlevania because I mean you could moonwalk in Super Castlevania.
I found it. I'm just gonna put it in that channel that you already wrote as posted as "Do Not Touch" because why not? All right, so
Yeah, because disregard the notice that I put there that said no one should touch
which is
that.
exactly what I did. But it was created by Koji Igarashi, and he made $5.5 million with 64,867 backers.
Damn.
Pledge $5 or more. IJ's gratitude, $28 or more. You get a digital copy on the Xbox One, PS4, or Steam. Meaning if you pledged, you're getting the game for cheaper than it retails for.
Damn.
Pledge $60 or more, you get a special
That's
backer.
pretty fucking good.
Pledge $60 or more, and you get a physical copy that with exclusive backer only content.
Nice.
In fact, I think one of his things was if you pledged a certain amount, you could create a boss or something or appear in the game. $750 or more, leave a special message in the credits. $800 or more, you get his personal signature. It goes up to
That's awesome.
That sounds like a bunch of swag.
$1,000 or more, you get to play a hater. Write a short message for David Hayter, the famed director, writer, and actor from Wolves, X-Men, and Universal, to record for you. It'll appear in the game's sound test if you pledge $1,000 or more.
Wow.
Nice.
1,500 or more, the developers will create a digital portrait of you and hang it in the game's castle.
Huh, nice.
Oh my God! Look, see here. Apparently this is for every game, every possible console. They're getting a Vita port, a Wii port, a Wii U port.
The Vita's still relevant.
People still use
The
it.
Vita's still relevant. Because the last time I checked, Sony basically yeeted out of that situation.
Yeah, they kind of left that in the dust after this last console cycle.
It's kind of funny. The Vita was like the Switch before the Switch, and yet it was like the Switch just did everything better apparently.
So,
not to mention the Vita kind of was.
let's see. Pledge $2,500 or more. Bloodstained themed 8-inch stained glass panel for hanging on your wall. $3,000 or more, and they will turn your pet or animal of choice into an in-game enemy. There were 5 backers for this. 5 people pledged $3,000 or more.
Was one of them Ego Raptor?
I don't know. Let's see here.
Wait, did we even say that while we were recording? With the Ego Raptor deal?
I don't know. Also, I have no idea who Ego Raptor
Ego
is.
Raptor is a YouTube
one half of the
content
Game
creator.
Grumps. Yeah, he started out in Newgrounds as doing whatever, and then him and John created Game Grumps.
Let's see.
Oh, that's who he
Yeah.
is. Okay.
Yeah, and the very last pledge possible that 3 people took, pledge $10,000. Join IGA on an adventure in Japan. Meet with IGA for dinner at a horror-themed restaurant and play games with them on live stream. Also includes you get a silver ring from the company, an 8-inch bloodstained glass, an ancestral bloodline in-game portrait, and everything else in the $750 tier. But travel and accommodations aren't included.
Damn.
And
Nice.
3 people took that. So basically, the story of this is that people trust this guy because he listed everything possible that that would be added to the game based on what backers would get, and then he had to go back and add more things to the backer list because people kept going higher and higher.
Yeah, so Yeah, I mentioned Ego Raptor because this is kind of ridiculous.
He
So
pledged
looking at
$3,000 to the to Mighty Number 9 and was appointed.
yeah, it was like a $2,500 tier. You're facing the game, and Ego Raptor's character design literally appears in the background of the first level as a billboard. And if you were basically zooming along like you should be in the game, you will not even notice it. Or if you do, he's there for like a split second.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was one of the guys I think that openly pledged like a ridiculous amount of money, and like there's two tiers above the you're facing the game. There's a tier that's 5,000.
Ego Raptor is he did pledge money to this game. YouTube partner clans: Proto John, Game Grumps,
Proton John.
Yeah, Proton John, Game Grumps, Sugar Conroy, Ego Raptor,
Sugar Conroy, awesome.
Nintendo Capri Sun,
Trigger Conroy. That one I'm familiar with.
He's the runaway. That's basically the runaway guys team. Awesome.
Nintendo Capri Sun, Mega 64, Josh Chipson, Kinda Funny Games, Steven Plays, the Zaibatsu Clan, Swimming Bird 941, Alpha Omega Sin, Far From Subtle, GameSack, The Speed Gamers, and Vine Sauce. And those are YouTube partners. For the video, I'm going to post a picture of the main character from Stained. That is for concept art.
All right.
That is for concept art, and just for a difference of what they look like in game. This is that's what was promised. That's what you get in cutscenes. This is what the game looks like. Those are concept art. Concept art. But I think there's a YouTube video somewhere.
Where are you posting these?
I posted them in that place.
Okay, I see.
Those are all concept art, but I'm pretty sure that's what you're going to get because there was a YouTube video somewhere on here. Now I gotta find it. Wow.
That's some pretty cool art, and that's kind of cool that it actually was in the game. So, by the way, Seiryu, speaking of the fact that you are touching it, I must sadly inform you that that thing will wind up having to be nuked.
No.
Using some of the stuff from our nuclear reactor.
You can't stop me. It's gone now.
Congratulations, you did exactly what I wanted you to do. Just as I had planned.
So, just backtracking a little bit, I noticed that...
I put it back, but I made it naughty.
Yeah, sorry to backtrack a little bit, but going back to Mighty Number 9, there's a description here that says the other Mighty Number robots must be destroyed. You don't actually do that. You just save them from whatever rage-inducing thing that happens with the game. You don't actually destroy other boss robots in the game. So this entire Kickstarter page is a fucking lie. How do you screw up that badly? Like, you're supposed to destroy other robots and get new powers from just destroying other robots, but you don't actually destroy them. Yeah, that's why this was I chose as a topic to talk about this, just because it's such a I really feel bad for the 67,226 backers that put this project to quote unquote life, or lack thereof, due to the fact that it released in a just piss poor state. Like, I could probably, if I had the expertise, know-how, and prowess to do so, I could probably make a hack of Mega Man with the character that probably played better than the Mighty Number 9 game.
Well, anyone could, given enough time and effort.
I'm pretty sure somebody actually has hacked Mighty Number 9, just character design, into a Mega Man game.
I'm gonna need you to prove that statement.
Like, all you gotta do is alter Mega Man's sprite just to make him look like Beck. And at least the 2D games.
He's not wrong.
Mighty Number 9. I want to see what Beck looked like.
He kind of looks...
He looks exactly like Mega Man. Just like reskinned with a different helmet.
Right? He never even puts his visor down in the game. Apparently that is a visor, I don't know.
I'm seeing concept. Wait, call is literally roll. They barely changed a thing.
Yeah.
Call looks exactly like roll. Like I'm searching Bing for this image because it searches by image. I'm literally finding pictures of roll.
Yeah.
They didn't diverge at all from the character design.
Apparently her design was an amalgamation of several designs sent in or chosen rather by backers of the project from concept art. For whatever that's
Huh.
worth.
You mean nothing?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking at concept art right now.
I kind of feel bad for Mighty Number 9 considering, like, we've gotten off topic two or three times now just to shit on it.
Look, you really shouldn't because they had all the potential and they promised the world and they didn't deliver anything.
Yeah, that's basically the summarization of that one. It's just it got so much hype and so much press basically. And after all that, after like 3 years of development, because it was announced in 2013, it was kickstarted and funded in 2014, and then finally released sometime like summer of 2016, and it has like hardly anything to show for it. Like it might as well have been like a project done by like a few people with like no money whatsoever, but it was like a huge thing done by like a team of maybe 100 people or something. Like there was like several people working in and out of the thing, and I think some of it was outsourced a little bit to varying degrees, but still, like the amount of people involved and the amount of money involved in the project,
it looks like an old Crash Bandicoot game from the PS2 era.
It looks like Mega Man Legends.
Mega Man Legends look better.
Maybe not Mega Man Legends, but Mega Man X7 is what it mostly looks like.
Mega Man looks like ass. Bigger, though.
Mega Man X7 looks like ass, but Mega Man 7 is still, or X7 is still, it's still a Mega Man game. Although, one would argue X7 is probably the worst of the series. Just because it's just so bad. It's not even so bad it's good, it's just so bad it's bad.
Wait, Mighty Number 9 launches a campaign, announces animated series.
They're supposed to have done an animated series, but that's become complete vaporware.
Did you say vaporware?
Weren't we talking about a Castlevania?
Yes,
no, back to Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, because there's only so much you can say about Bloodstained because it's not out yet. We have 3 years plus of disappointment from Mighty Number 9 that we can discuss. We can't discuss Bloodstained anymore because while I did hide some pictures, unfortunately
it got canceled. The series got canceled.
Yeah, Mighty Number 9.
What?
Anything got canceled.
Everything else except for the game got canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but we can't talk about too much about Bloodstained because there's only so much that we can see. We won't know anything else about. We won't know any data about it aside from what's on the Kickstarter page until tomorrow, until an hour from now, and in my time.
Right.
Because it's just because they're making the very smart decision of making the promises but not showing anything more than just the littlest and bit that's enough to like make you want more.
Yeah, Mighty Number 9's problem was that they showed too much and they showed too high quality, and everyone basically accepted that as what it should have been. But then when they finally delivered, it's like,
yeah, they delivered, but they couldn't actually. They didn't deliver. That's the issue.
Yep, the Mighty Number 9 series is going to be vaporware because it's just like, yeah.
There are videos of this. There's videos on the Steam page that actually show the old version of what the things look like to the new version. Like there's actual game concept art. In fact, let me see if I can copy the image here. I'll just copy the page, Earl.
Where's that going to be at?
It's on Steam. Look, I'm looking at the Steam
No, I
page.
mean, like, where are you posting that so I can see it too?
I'm just gonna stick it in. You're not team only.
It is
I'll stick
in
it in safe for work.
the. It's in the.
If you click the link there, you can actually see this. You can actually see what they're promising here. Like you can actually see some actual, like some non-concept. You can see what the game actually looks like. You can see some actual gameplay. There's videos and everything. There's like 4 videos. The game actually looks better than the concept art because they updated the graphics from what they originally had planned.
Oh, for Bloodstained?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Mighty Number 9 there for a second.
No. The animations are super smooth too. I'm watching one of the videos right now, and the animations are super smooth, and it looks really good.
This dude totally looks like a darker version of, like, Trevor Belmont.
It very well could be.
Trevor Belmont vibes from this dude. Or is that
okay? So they're complaining about the art style. Like one of the very first things they're talking about, where like in this video here, is they're complaining about the art style. They're cutting to the director, and he says, "I'll prove them wrong," and he updated it. So he's self-aware. Like he's
really?
self-aware. Like that very first video on the Steam page, you can see that like they showed the complaints, and they showed the director taking a sip of some wine and then saying, "I'll show them wrong."
Yeah, the more and more I hear about this guy, the more and more I think he'd be kind of cool guy to hang around.
That's the thing, though. His entire Kickstarter thing was him basically memeing on everybody, and then he actually produces something really good. Okay, so apparently 505 Games picked it up because that's their publisher. Developer is Artplay. Let's see what that.
Wait a second. Ben Judd is involved in this project too?
Yeah.
Ben Judd actually was I guess the translator for Inafune and also one of the English localizers for Mighty Number 9. So
Well,
yeah,
cool,
he's
I guess.
apparently he's put his hand into this because I want to say he works with Konami maybe or something, or I can't remember exactly where he does what he does for now, but basically it sounds like he's kind of like, for Japanese companies, he's kind of like the go-to guy for like working with PR and stuff like that. That's kind of good that he kind of grown out of this crap that just came out of Mighty Number 9 and did something better than that. Oh, hey, NT Creates is in on this too. Nice.
Yep.
So, in other words, Mighty Number 9 may have failed, but some of the people that were involved in it actually went on to do better things.
So what I'm hearing is that it wasn't their fault exclusively. Something happened.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of miscommunication with Mighty Number 9. It seems like, because it's like there was like not only like it was Indie Creates, it was also where the Dems Wikipedia again. It was Indie Creates and Concept, and you had Deep Silver and Spike Chunsoft publishing it. Which
Spike Chunsoft, really?
Yeah, that's the publishers were Deep Silver and Spike Chunsoft. And Deep Silver handles the English releases and I guess the other releases or something. I don't know. It seems like there was too many people to take care of and handle, while like problems just started arising because reasons and things happening, and yeah. It seems like a giant whirlwind of messes and problems going on with that game.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Also, I have to say, I think I like the concept of like the story concept of Bloodstained better than Mighty Number 9, because Mighty Number 9 is literally something we've already seen before. To be fair,
Yeah.
Bloodstained isn't exactly perfect in that regard either. It's got a lot of tropes, that we're already familiar with. But it's
Yeah.
basically a main character has a curse. They're trying to break this curse.
So it seems like I'm just looking into it a little bit. It kind of seems like they're going back to Symphony of the Night style gameplay, which, like I said, that game has like no problems with me. It's just that after you die, then it takes forever to restart back. And anybody who's played games for a long time probably knows that loading screens are a pain in the ass.
Loading screens back then were a pain in the ass. Nowadays, you
Yeah.
can get games like this that load instantly.
Yeah, but back in the day, though, it just took forever to load, and it's like you could basically stack up so much time in load screens that equal or actually outnumber how long you've been playing the game just in loading screens if they're just that horrendous.
Expect a worryingly large amount of announcements and updates, anything from getting a look at the Steam page to the game in general. It's going to be one wild ride. And so far they've taken stuff that people haven't liked and they've changed it to make it look better. They've done everything possible to appease the Kickstarters.
Right.
It looks like they're remaining true to their original objective. And
So we got to
also
wrap this up here somewhere. We've basically covered our topics.
Yep.
So, do we have any
Yeah.
other closing thoughts?
And that's something we don't normally do on Nerd Talks. Like,
I like having Wolf
Ever.
around. He keeps us on topic.
I'm kind of the conductor of the train.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Go ahead, check out the links below, and see you next time.